Hello friends, welcome to Joy of Life. So before we proceed with this episode, what I would like to tell you is that if you have not seen the system design introduction video wherein we have discussed about the architecture of this mini project that we are building, I would highly recommend you to check the same. I will leave a link to the description as well so that you can click, check the same and then get back onto the video. So previously we have created a MySQL Docker container. We have connected it to MySQL Workbench. We have created a table, and in this video what we are going to do is we are going to add the dependency of string JPA inside our project, and we are going to persist this, right? So over to the code. So to start with, we are going to add the dependency for MySQL and string JPA into our project. First one is MySQL, and the second one would be, the next one would be for our Spring Boot Starter Data JPA. And next what we are going to do is we are going to re-import the project. The error should be gone. So you can see over here that the dependencies has been resolved and it's no more in red. So we are good with this. So now what we are going to do is we are going to configure our project. So previously what we have been doing was we were taking a string and we were printing it on the screen and returning the response, right? But now what we need to do is we need to persist this data into our database. So we need to create an object. So let's head over here and let's create a model package. So this model package will have all the entities that we are going to persist. So we are going to create a class called URL class because the URL is what we are saving. And what we need over here is the string URL that we wanted to save. And let's say we are also saving the timestamp. So we'll name this as created date. And also we will need a ID. So let's say we are using a string ID over here. And now we need to annotate our class. So this is an entity class, as you know, that we need to persist this. So we'll use Java persistent entity, this package over here, and we are going to use this annotation. And we need to tell MySQL that this is a ID field. This will be our ID, and what we are going to do is we are also going to give the column name. So ID URL will have the same column name, but for created date we are going to change this. So we'll use the underscore notation. We'll put it as created date. So in the previous video what we have done is we have created a table in MySQL and we plan to use it, but we are not going to use the same. So what we'll basically do is we'll auto create the table from the application instead if the table does not exist, and we are going to use it. And I have taken the ID as string and string URL and a field called created underscore date. Now the next thing that we need are the getters and setters for this getter, setter, and the constructors for this class. So we are not going to do that manually. What we'll use instead is to use Lombok in order to get it done. So we are going to do a search with Lombok Maven dependency, and we are going to add the same dependency to our project. So we can pick up the latest version and we'll get this and we'll add this to our form file. Under the dependencies section, we are adding this dependency, and it's already being resolved, so that is fine. So if you are not familiar with Lombok, what it does, it helps us to create whatever we need, right? So this class doesn't have any getters and setters, right? Just to give you a quick understanding of what it does, so let me show you. So if I say URL, this is our class, and we take a new instance, and we see that there are no getters and setters, right? Lombok comes pretty handy over here. So what we are going to do is we are going to use Lombok in order to auto generate our getters, setters, constructor, everything. It's not like how we do from IntelliJ to generate things, right? So over here also you can come and you can generate the getters and setters, but I'm not talking about that. So what we are going to do over here is we are going to put the annotation getter, setter, whatever we need, and we need a no args constructor and say a all args constructor. So what it does is you don't have to add those constructor over here. Now if you do a u dot, and you will see that all your getters, setters, constructor has been added. Get URL, get created date, get ID, everything. So this comes pretty handy. So we are going to use it. Now we are going to make some adjustment to our resource. So previously I was taking a URL over here, right? So we are going to change it to our URL class instead. And what we'll do is whenever we get a request, we are going to set the ID to it. And why I have kept a string ID is because we are going to use UUID. What we'll do is we'll use UUID dot get random UUID over here. So this will assign me a random UUID, and we are going to convert it to string. So if you are not familiar with what UUID is, so it's basically a universally unique identifier that we generate. It's a 128-bit long. So what we are going to do is we are going to use a prefix before it so that we can identify that this is for our URL. Just a naming convention that we are following over here. And what we are going to do is we are going to move this to a constant. So the constant is over here, and what we'll do is we'll create a separate package. When we are building our application, we should build it properly, and we'll move it under the common. So we'll create a class called constants, and we'll make this a final class. And what we are going to do is we are going to move this to the class. And we are going to put over here that we are using constants dot. So we need to import. Yep, we are good. So we are generating for every request, we are generating a UUID over here, and we are putting a prefix. And then what we'll do is basically we will first create a repository and a service, and we are going to call it for saving. Okay, so what we are going to do next is create a couple of packages, one for service. So the service package will have the business logic, everything that we need, and the other package is the DO package, wherein we'll have only our repositories. So this will only talk to our database. So in the service, we are going to create a class called URL service, and we are going to annotate this as a service, and we are going to have a single method over here called save, and which will get a URL, and this is going to save for now, nothing else. So we'll complete this once we have our DO ready. So for the DO, we'll not have a class, we'll rather have an interface, and we are going to call it URL repository. So what we are going to do is we are going to extend from the JPA repository that is already there, and we are going to save the URL, right? And our primary key is the string. So we are going to mention those two things over here, and that's all for the repository at the moment. So what we are going to do next in the service is to have the repository over here. So we'll have the private, and we are going to auto add this. So now we can simply use this URL repository over here and call the save method on it with the URL that we receive, right? So for now, there will not be much inside this class, but later we'll change it as and when we need it. And similarly, in our resource, what we are going to do is we are going to have the service over here. So we are going to auto add and create the service class. So we'll put the URL service here. So let's call URL service save with the URL. So we have been setting the ID, so we need to set the date as well. So we are just going to do a new timestamp of system.currentMails, and we are going to call the save method. So our varying part is done. We are calling the save, and from save we are calling the repository. Everything looks good. So now the next thing that we need to do over here is to set up the connection parameters. Properties file. So Spring JPA Hibernate DDL auto create, DDL auto to create, because we want to create it, and we have to generate the DDL in that case. So that's why it's set to true. Then you have the URL to your MySQL instance along with the database, then the username, password, and you need to specify the driver for MySQL. If you remember, we have added the dependency into our POM file. So if you just a quick recap, we did it over here. Okay, going back, we have the show SQL to true so that we can see the SQL queries that's being executed. And we have specified the dialect. So MySQL 8 is the dialect we have chosen because we have MySQL 8 in our container running, right? And the naming strategy is set to improve naming strategy, right? So that is all for your configuration. And coming back to your application class over here, what we have is we have enabled component scan, we have enabled auto configuration, we have enabled JPA repositories, and have specified the base path to where our repositories are, right? We have specified that this is the entity which is mapped to your table. This is the name of your table, and you have said that this is the identifier. This is going to be the primary key of your table. You'll have a field called URL, and you'll have a created date. And what we have done, one minor improvement that we can do, that we have been setting the created date over here, right? And let's not do that. Instead, what we can do is we can annotate this over here, and we can put at created date. We have the annotation. So in this episode, we have done with all the coding parts from the application. We have done our repositories, services, entities, constants. We have done all the required wirings. We have created the properties file for the connection parameters. We have done everything. We touched upon a little bit on Lombok as well. So in the next part, what we are going to do is we are going to do the debugging part. Right now we have several open ends, right? We are using a MySQL database, the first thing, and secondly we are using it as a container, right? So we'll see how we debug it and how we take things forward, how we resolve the issues and things like that. So please do check out the next video wherein we are going to go in much more details, and followed by that we are also going to do some advanced setup. We are planning to use Kafka, Nginx and things like that. So yeah, please subscribe and stay tuned so that you get all the updates as and when I publish the videos. And also I'll be sharing the GitHub link very shortly with you guys. So thank you once again for watching this video, and let's catch up on the next video on the debugging part.